Today we are going to paint a sunflower bouquet in very loose, spontaneous style. Hi friends, I'm Olga Koelsch, watercolor artist, teacher and a book author. Welcome to my studio. Let's start. I will use two brushes of different size, 6 and 12. There will be 3 sunflowers in a bouquet. I use my smaller brush and I pick up light red. Burnt sienna can be also a good choice. And then somewhere in the middle of the page, a little bit to the left, with the tip of my brush, I start to create the sunflower middle part. Just painting, basically just painting dots. And I use different shades of my brown, basically arranging them like this. Then I wash my brush. I dry it with a paper towel and soften somewhere some dots, connecting some dots like this, but leaving some white areas. Now I switch to my bigger brush just because it's more convenient. I have this very warm Indian yellow. Cadmium yellow will be good. Raw sienna will be also a good option. With the tip of the brush, I touch the middle and apply pressure on my brush, move it around and then release the pressure. And then again, touching the middle, move, release the pressure. And then I just go around in the same way, creating sunflower petals. It's one layer because sunflowers, they have a lot of overlapping petals, but in order to paint the other petals on the top, we will need to dry this one first. You can also start to paint petals in the opposite direction. You start with the tip of your brush on the top, apply pressure on your brush, and then bring your brush to the center. Then it will create more sharp edges. I also like to go just with the tip of the brush around and to fill in some spaces and create more of brush strokes, more of veins in the flower. And for now, it's not finished yet, but I will let it dry. I think I would like to make the middle slightly bigger. Therefore, I use my creamy brown mix, and I will step aside a little bit from the initial round, from the initial circle, and just go with the tipping moves. But the area around is wet, therefore it creates these beautiful bleeds around. Now let's paint another one, which will be slightly tilted, looking to the left direction, and I will find a nice place. I imagine it will grow like this, therefore the middle will be around this area. So tipping moves, I create the middle. I also can add just a bit of yellowish part into the middle already to make it slightly brighter, because sun shines from the top left. That will make this part lighter. With Indian yellow, I will firstly paint that half of sunflower which looks at me, and because it is tilted, we see petals slightly shorter. So I think I will start to paint in the opposite direction, from tips of the petal and bringing them to the middle, like this. Tip of the brush, then pressure on the brush, and then release the pressure. And even longer on that direction. You can try to move your wrist in different directions. That will create variety in your brush strokes. I also would like you to see what I'm doing, therefore I can't really paint like this. So something around that, and then with the tip of the brush you can add more more of greens, more of dynamic, bit of my brown mix, go around, make them a bit brighter and intense. You see how light it is now once it's dry. So now let's paint the third one. The third one will be nice to place somewhere around here, maybe slightly tilted again. First middle, start from the middle, tip of the brush, belly of the brush, release the pressure. Release the pressure. Imagine where your sunflower is looking at, like which direction. If you prefer to paint more controlled tips of the flower, you start painting from outside, from outer parts to the inner parts, like this. And let's add some details. Let's use brown accents. This flower is mostly in the shadow, so we can paint a bit more intense in the middle. I want to put everything on stems, on the greenery part. I have already nice, well mixed olive green. If you do not have olive green, you can mix phthalo green with burnt sienna, with one of your browns. That will give you basically very similar nice warm green, slightly muted green. When you draw stems, you have to make imaginary line from the middle of the flower, how the stem grows. Probably not like this, right? And then it grows, and here it appears. Same here. Probably not like this. Imagine there is a stem like that, and then one more. Find a nice place. Start with the tip of the brush, belly of the brush, wiggle moves, release the pressure. Maybe one more side. Same principle. I will mix it slightly with my brown for the variety. We'll paint one more leaf here. Basically, it's just a brush stroke with big brush, and then release the pressure. And let's do it again, but with slightly warmer color, like this. And then small brush. And it's nice to play around, add some greenery touch. It's a bouquet, so can be a bit more of extra stems. Some basically just brush strokes. I'm arranging them in a nice way that they will bring some dynamic to the bouquet. Something around this. I very much like to make dried brush strokes. About this area, we can feel a little bit space in between the flowers, like that. And I can add a couple of petals right on the top. Brush strokes, I basically bringing just back brush strokes, painting them in the middle, but make sure that the initial layer is dry. And a little bit more on the top, especially in this part. In my case, it's got a little bit mixed, connected too much, so I definitely can use some accents to divide this part. look where you can add one more or two more petals, or which area is a little bit too uncertain, and add your accents in that area. Big, quick, brave brush strokes, and we have the second layer of petals. And maybe why not to add some idea of birds. Basically just brush strokes. I press my brush, and as a final touch, because all these got very light, I need to create an extra bright brown area. If you have sepia, you also can use sepia or mix colors again. And with the tip of the brush, right now I'm doing dried brush strokes, so I go and recreate a little bit, play around with the middle, with the seeds area. The seeds area you can slightly extend it. You can keep it as you got, because probably at this point you have something slightly different from mine, and you are the artist and you decide for your picture where, how to proceed. But it's important to make this middle part the darkest part of the whole bouquet, because it is the darkest part. It is the darkest part. You can add a couple of, for example, middle veins for the leaves. But sometimes it's nice just to stop at the right moment. Thank you so much for painting with me. I hope you learned something new. I hope you enjoyed the process. Please let me know in comments what would you like to paint next. And see you soon. Bye bye.